Hi. I'll have the number 11, but if you could, hold the phone.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the show. We are here with Mr. Stephen Harkins. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great.
Very good. So, Stephen and I used to work together at a natural vitamin and supplements company. And Stephen was the best. He had so much passion for health, so much knowledge. Every time I spoke to you, I learned a whole lot. So, this is our first kind of health based show. Like the channel, I want it to be dedicated to just anything that empowers people, whether that's entrepreneurship or spirituality. Health is a big one on my list, and people more and more want to take ownership of their health and maybe don't know where to get started, or there's so much to know. It's
Hmm.
hard to tell kind of where to start. So like anywhere you can get some information that you wouldn't, because like you've been working on this for years, I've been working on it for years. So if we can share a little bit about what we know, maybe we can save people a lot of time, a lot of reading, and get them started off on the right foot. So I
Yeah.
appreciate you joining me today.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Yeah. So Stephen works at North American Herb and Spice, natural supplement company. The main thing that they sell is this oregano P73, oregano oil. Incredible stuff. Quick story on oregano. So I actually still keep some around all the time. I haven't worked there for years, but I still keep some around. So one
Awesome.
time a couple years back, my wife got food poisoning suddenly, just woke up in the middle of the night, just miserable. And like, we didn't know what to do. She just couldn't even drink water and she started getting a fever. And I was like, all right, this is getting out of control. I took the oregano oil and rubbed it on the bottom of her feet. And one of the things I learned when I was working there is the biggest pores in your body are on the bottom of your feet. And you can absorb a lot of like medicines through, soles of your feet. So I was like massaging this into her feet. And within like 2 hours, she was good. It was over and everything. I was like, God, this oregano. Yeah. So I always keep some around. Yeah.
And I'm glad she was able to get some benefit
Yeah.
from that. It's not a fun place to be.
No, that's rough for sure. It's definitely like a miserable thing, and it's gonna happen to everyone at least once or twice, probably in their lifetime. But it's kind of scary, It's like, yeah, she
Yeah.
just, I mean, couldn't even drink water, and then you start getting a fever, and you're like, all right, this is getting serious quickly, right? So, but in
Yeah.
terms of things you can do at home, that was the move, and it made a big difference. Yeah. So let
Yeah.
me let me ask you, how did you've as long as I've known you, you've had a huge passion for health. Where did that kind of come from originally?
So growing up, I'm from Memphis, Tennessee, and so I'm from the South,
Nice.
and it's just, yeah, but it's just something that's not taught in our culture down there. They don't teach us about nutrition. They don't talk about where the vitamins are coming from. They don't talk about natural medicine or herbs
Right.
or anything. And a lot of my family members, my memory as a child was just I was sick a lot myself,
Mm.
and I was just told that's normal. You're just getting sick. And the things that they did for me, I would never do for my child. Now I'm like, oh, they gave me Cheez-Its and soda and,
Right.
popsicles and stuff. And also a lot of my family members, my grandmother, she had a bunch of heart attacks. My father died at the age of 4 from type 1 diabetes. That
Whoa.
he was 40 years old when he
Yeah.
passed.
Wow.
And he wasn't taking care of himself very well, and things were different back in 1992. They've come a long way with advancements, but he
Right.
had to have amputations, and it was really painful and miserable for him. And then my mother, man, she struggled with alcoholism,
Yeah.
and she ended up getting cancer as well. She was a big smoker. So she got lung cancer and throat cancer and passed away in 2012.
Whoa.
And all during this time, I had family members that passed away of other cancers, and I had a grandfather that had Alzheimer's, loved him very much. Had to
Yeah.
see him kind of lose his mind and go through that process before he went, and just multiple heart attacks and things. So I just was thinking to myself all along, like, why is my family so sick? This can't be normal.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
wasn't getting the answers I wanted. And then once my mother passed of cancer, to me, that was like the final straw.
Yeah.
And I did have when I was a boy, even as early as age 7, my Aunt Judy, who's the owner of this company you mentioned, North
Hmm.
American Herb Spice, she visited me, and she was always different than the rest of the family. She would talk to me about, oh, these are mangoes and they have vitamin K and they have all these minerals and they're good for you. And she would also tell me to read the back of the ingredients, learn how to do that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
she started to plant seeds, and I think I came to a point with my own journey where I thought, all right, I'm motivated and somebody in my family knows more than I do, and let me start asking questions and actually paying attention and find out, research more into this. And sure enough, the information is out there. If you're seeking, you will find. And
Right.
I was just astonished at so many things in our food supply that are allowed to be there that are clearly harmful. And a lot of people, it's not hidden information, but you do have to look for it on your own.
No, that's man, there's a lot to unpack in there. I didn't know a lot of that about your story. As long as I've known you, I mean, you've always been a very inspiring person to be around. I mean, you've always,
Thank
obviously very, you're religious. You always had like a very inspiring kind of Bible quote, like ready to go, and always
you.
good energy, always uplifting people. So I didn't know you went through so many, so many things, but I mean, certainly explains why, you have this passion and you've dedicated so much of yourself to it. And you have an astonishing knowledge base for these things. I mean, I wish we had, like, if I could pay you to just spend 4 days telling me everything, I mean, that would be like amazing, um, but yeah, toward the about the last thing you said, we as Americans rely so much on these company like government agencies that are supposed to be looking out for us, like the FDA, the people who certify things as organic, and there's so many things that are allowed to be in our food and our products that are illegal in other places, or they're, we know how
Yeah,
bad they are for people, for the environment, and somehow we're allowed to just give them to people. And then we have the kind of audacity to wonder like why everyone is so sick, why everyone has a autoimmune issue, and why there's so much cancer and heart disease and diabetes and all these different things, Alzheimer's. And I think, and obviously for anyone listening, neither of us are medical doctors. This is not, excuse me, medical advice. But I think a lot of this is preventable with lifestyle. I mean, what you put into your
yes,
body is what you're going to get out of it. But it's not just that obvious, right? It's like where
right.
foods come from. Like not all strawberries are created equal. Like
Hmm.
there's a whole lot to know. So I'm hoping with this episode we can try to just provide as much information as possible, just as some sort of guide people can reference to have just a little bit more knowledge. Um, the big one for me is fish oil, and I don't know if you know Dr. Rhonda Patrick. I love her. I love watching her stuff. Um,
No,
she's big on YouTube, so she was talking about a study, and apparently fish oil is maybe the only supplement that has been directly linked with longevity. And it's because the number one killer in society is still heart disease. And she
that's
was
right.
saying basically
Yeah.
people who smoke and eat fish regularly have about the same expected lifespan as people who don't smoke and don't eat fish. And all of that is to say, like seafood, especially ocean seafood with the iodine, the healthy oils, so powerful for your body. So, I don't know if you're passionate about fish oil or not. That's always been a big one
I
for me.
am.
Anything you
Yeah,
want to
I
say on that?
totally, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. And I grew up not liking seafood and
really.
tried and my family made a lot of deep fried shrimp and stuff like that, so it's
Yeah.
probably best anyway. But I didn't like the seafood. I think my grandmother made like salmon patties, and I liked that, but it's still fried and all that. But at
Right.
any rate, yeah, once I really discovered the benefits of fish oil, my favorite that I take is salmon oil. I like it because, and it's a similar structure to something like cod. It's got those omega 3s, which we really need. Just on the omega 3 front alone, a lot of people don't realize this, but there is a ratio. Okay, let me back up a little bit. There's something called essential fatty acids. So your body relies on fat, good healthy fat, in order just to fundamentally work and do its normal function and job. And so if you can picture, you have cells, and then the cells make up the tissues, and then the tissues make up the organs, such as the heart. So at the cellular level, the outside of these cells have a fatty membrane that protects the cell. And so if this fat is not maintained, your cell will wear away faster. It's called oxidation. This oxidation over time can lead to inflammation, and inflammation is really the root cause of a lot of these heart diseases and cancers that are plaguing our society.
Hmm.
And it all goes back to this ratio that you're supposed to have of omega 3 fatty acids to omega 6 fatty acids. So some of you listening may have heard of these omega 3s, omega 6s. There's even omega 9s. But just to focus on 3 and 6, there's a ratio that our ancestors always had, which is more like 4 to 1 or 2 to 1, even, where you're supposed to have more omega 3s. So double or even quadruple the omega-3s to omega-6 fatty acids.
Mm.
The problem in our society today is all of the cooking oils that most restaurants and fast food places are using, and even now in the home, it's so popular, are these vegetable and seed oils.
Mm.
And these are very rich in omega-6. Some of the oils like safflower and sunflower are 70 or even 50% by weight omega-6.
Mm.
So what's happening is in the Western diets, we're ending up 20 to 1 omega-6 to omega-3. This causes a chronic inflammatory state.
Hmm.
And so even if we give you fish oil, which you should look at, omega-3s, you need more of those in your diet. Where are you going to get them from? Unless you're catching and eating fish every week, multiple times, you're
Right.
probably not getting enough. That hence the supplementation is helpful. But if you're only getting like, a couple of teaspoons of omega-3 and you still have these other oils like canola, like soybean, like corn,
Yeah.
then it's just not enough to overcome this ratio.
So that's an important thing to know. You absolutely should be supplementing with a fish oil, especially my wife and I moved to Nashville. So now we're in the South, and like access to fresh ocean fish is not the same as Chicago, where you and I met, which Chicago is a hub. And
Yeah.
for some reason, all kinds of fresh stuff comes into Chicago. So like you get amazing fish at restaurants, a little bit more challenging when you're kind of landlocked inland. But it's not just about supplementing the fish oil. It's also about removing the culprits that are
Right.
causing this imbalance and this, chronic inflammation response. So I know, and there's a lot of studies where people are saying like, oh, soybean oil, canola, it's not that bad. And I think we need to get money untangled from, the
Yeah.
lobbying and all these things, because there's a lot of evidence to say that, there was something that changed around the year 1970, 1980, somewhere in there. We made some shift where now suddenly people are chronically overweight, chronic autoimmune conditions. And autoimmune is weird. Why is your body turning against itself and attacking itself? And we're acting as
Right.
if that is a normal thing that happens. Like your body is constantly in a state where it's almost like rejecting a transplanted organ or something. It's like attacking itself,
Yeah.
and we act
Friendly
like
fire.
the normal thing that happens. It's my genetics. Like, no, 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 no. We are fundamentally missing something huge here.
Definitely.
Yeah. So I'm big on the fish oil, and I agree with you on the salmon. So one thing to add, and I always get this word wrong. The reason salmon is orange, wild salmon specifically, farm salmon, they have to give it food coloring to make it look like salmon. Otherwise, I think it'd be kind of gray. Wild
Yeah.
salmon, the reason it's orange is because of, I think it's krill, something in the ecosystem that is going up the ladder that like shrimp and lobster and salmon are all eating that makes them red. And it's
Yeah.
loaded with an antioxidant called astaxanthin.
That's correct.
Which,
Yeah.
that was maybe the first time I ever said it right. I'm glad it was on a podcast. In my head, I can say it, and then it comes out, and I
It's
get
not your everyday vocabulary, but yes, astaxanthin is, and that is an antioxidant that's
yeah.
responsible for this pink pigment. Even flamingos, they also share this
Oh, that's right. Okay,
pigment.
that's cool. Like when you see pink and red in nature, a lot of times maybe it comes from this astaxanthin.
Yeah, it can.
Yeah. So what are the benefits of astaxanthin, just in terms of like, let's say salmon oil versus cod oil? Like if the one difference is this antioxidant.
Well, and a lot of people don't realize this, but there are antioxidants. They go by different names. Some are even more impressive in their benefits than others. Astaxanthin is one of those super antioxidants. It's sometimes called the master antioxidant or the most powerful one of the sea.
Mm.
And it's going to do what antioxidants do, but maybe a little bit on steroids. So it's very heart protective in particular, very good for your skin, helpful for your brain and for your eyes.
Mm.
And omega-3s share a lot of those benefits as well. So they do stack well together. And in general, it's just think of antioxidant as anti-aging. It's preserving you. It's keeping your cells from oxidation. And every time your cells die, there has to have cell division for more cells to come about. And you are a walking sack of trillions of cells.
Mm.
And so you want to have turnover of your cells not so often because you can only handle so many cell divisions in your lifetime.
Mm. That's maybe what
Um,
aging is like
that's
we're
essentially
making new
aging.
ones, and it's not quite as good as the last replication or
Think
something
of
like this,
aging
maybe.
as like, you see a piece of car that you see a car that rusts, a piece of iron, or you
Mm,
see an apple that's out too long and you see that brown start to happen. That's oxidation.
mm,
And that can happen, of course, inside of our bodies, our cells, tissues, and organs. And so you need these powerful antioxidants to overcome, just your environment, just the things that are going in and out of your body, and
hmm.
keep those cells going stronger, longer. And
Yeah.
astaxanthin's great for it.
I love that. I noticed like when I was lifting weights and things, seemed like the fish oil from salmon helped with like that soreness you get to it. Kind of helps with even seems like maybe it's the anti-inflammatory quality or something, but
Yeah.
I felt like, yeah, I don't know, I was like getting a little looser, wasn't as like kind of locked up after, hitting it kind of too hard sort of thing.
There's definitely some muscular benefits,
Yeah,
that they've studied with fish oil and salmon. And of course, the anti-inflammatory is huge with the omega 3s, and that's going to be
right,
bode well for recovery. So you can get
right.
back in there and do it again.
So let me ask you on fundamentals of health, what do you regard as some of the most important everyday shifts people can make to really avoid dealing with like chronic conditions or addressing those?
Yeah, I think that your water and food is paramount because that's what's really going on into your body more than anything else. You've got
Mm-hmm.
to have clean food and water. Everything you eat is either going to cause disease and inflammation or it's going to heal it. And if you think like that, then think healing. You want to eat foods that are healing, whole foods from nature. You want clean water because our water is pretty bad. You can go to ewg.org and you can type in your zip code where you are and you can see what's in your tap water.
Neat.
Absolutely, you need filtered water. There's a lot of plastics in water bottles and things like that we're finding are actually, we know that the average American's getting about a credit card's worth of plastic in their body every week.
I've heard
So
that.
if you
Yeah.
can reduce your plastic, like you see, I'm using a stainless steel thermos, and just put your water in that. So your diet is very important. You can't really achieve health without fixing that. So
Hmm.
supplementation should be in addition to that, but not to replace that.
Right.
And of course, sleep off is very underestimated in terms of restorative and detoxification
Mm.
value, and of course your mental health. And but they can measure the physiological effects on your heart, your brain, in general. So and you need recovery. So everybody needs about 7 to 8 hours of good sleep every night.
Hmm.
And if you can, that's one of those things that you don't want to neglect either. And that's just putting it very simply, within diet, I think that there is the opportunity that people have to really change things around.
Yeah, let's talk about sleep really quick because I was thinking about this the other day that a lot of people have trouble sleeping and we're acting as if that's a normal thing. Like my dog, my cats can pass out in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And human beings can't do it in 4 or 5 hours. Like they're just sitting there tossing, turning, worrying about the future. Like the mind is awake, the body's asleep, all this different kind of stuff. And they need chemical assistance to get there. Um, there's a lot of different reasons for that. And maybe it's too big to attack, but I mean, any insights on that?
Yeah, I don't think it's too big to attack. I think, there is the old school way that always teaches us. So we need to be students of how people lived a couple hundred years ago in
Yeah.
every. Now, that's not possible because, I mean, we're not going to be doing all that exactly, but we need to be mindful of that.
Mm-hmm.
So, the lights go out for them before electricity. When it gets dark outside, you start to create melatonin in your brain, and that's
Mm-hmm.
signaling you in a healthy person, hey, it's time to start getting tired so that you can get ready to go to bed. And then the sun comes up and it wakes you up and those endorphins are going for you and you're ready to start your day. So this is the cycle that humans are used to and have been on for thousands of years. And now it's been interrupted by electricity, screen time, the blue
Yeah.
light coming off of our devices, the Wi-Fi routers that have the EMF and the RF, electromagnetic frequency and radio frequencies that
Right.
we don't see, but they absolutely can disrupt our rhythms. and our circadian rhythm. So those are the things we need to be mindful of. If you have a Wi-Fi router in your house, how close is that to your bed?
Right.
You could turn that off. You're not really using the internet when you're sleeping. And your phone, most people are using these as alarm clocks. How close is that to you? Because that can cause some issue. It's best to have it outside of the room or have it as far away on the other side of the room. That will
Right.
make a difference. Also, try to limit your screen time. I know it's not always easy in the evening, but
Hmm.
for me, I've got a rule that after 8 o'clock, I put on my glasses. I have my blue light blocking glasses, and I have found that that makes a difference. That I'm in a better state to go to sleep when it's time, as long
Right.
as I'm using that. So
No, that all
yeah,
makes a huge difference. The phone thing I've noticed. So I used to put the phone in airplane mode, and now I can still
yeah,
receive messages while I'm in airplane mode. So they changed something about what it even means. But there are times I swear I'm like laying in bed and I could see like light in the room. There's no light on, but like behind my eyelids, I swear there's like a light on. And I don't know if that's the Wi-Fi, the phone, you're getting a call, message.
yeah.
But there's
You know,
so
we
much. Yeah,
the
yeah,
blue light that you're getting from the TV and from the phone, it's
right,
also a flicker effect that's
right,
actually flickering, and
yeah,
we're drawn to that like moths to the flame, know?
yeah.
But it can definitely and think about how much screen time, right? At work, a lot of you may have to be in an office setting and you have to
Hmm.
be on the screen, and then you've got your phone, and then there's a TV and a computer waiting for you at
Right,
home. So, it's not a bad idea to, if you can, at periods of time, to try to digitally detox, which is
right,
another
right.
kind of detox we can do. That I've done that. I've done that a few times, and it is incredible. I mean, it's almost like a withdrawal process at first,
Hmm.
uh, but you kind of really, your sleep starts to improve. Also caffeine, right? We're very caffeinated.
Right.
Drinking a lot of coffee. Many of us are having more than one cup a day.
I drink a lot.
Um,
Yeah.
Coffee has a half-life of about 5 to 6 hours, which means it stays in your system anywhere from 10 to 12 hours, depending how you
Right,
metabolize things. So if you're having a coffee at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, by the time you go to bed at, let's say, 10 o'clock, you could still have, something like 50 milligrams of caffeine in your system, which is
right.
enough to kind of keep you awake.
Yeah, and then there's also the alcohol issue with people, and that one, like if you are someone who drinks, try to have your last drink 2 hours before you go to bed. Like give your body time to process as much as possible. Like you might fall asleep quicker, but your quality will be, if you were measuring your sleep quality with like a watch or anything like this, you will see the difference that it absolutely disrupts your ability to have the deep restorative sleep that your
Yeah.
brain and body really need to.
Eating close or drinking anything, even water, close to
Mm,
your bedtime, now
interesting.
you've got to get up and use the restroom,
Right,
kind of
right,
thing. So it's even good if you can, and this takes some time, but to kind of do some fasting, about 2 to 4 hours before you go to bed,
right.
especially if you're really struggling with sleep, give it a try. Try some of these tips and get most of your water earlier in the day if you can.
I like that. I'll add in a few things for people, just my 2 cents on the subject. Let's say you got the screen thing, the caffeine thing, the alcohol thing all under control, but you're still having trouble sleeping. Let's say it's worry related.
Oh
Grab a
yeah.
notebook, write down everything bothering you just so you don't have to carry it. And then on the next page, write down 10 things you're grateful for. Like if you write down what you're grateful for, you will see that you are more likely much wealthier than you even think you are, or your problems are much smaller compared to the things going right. And we're goal oriented creatures. So like we always are like, what do we not have and we're chasing after. And we're very good at neglecting like the things going right. So write down like, hey, I got a warm bed waiting for me. I got a house, got a spouse, whatever it is, like got a family, got my health. And then if you just orient yourself to the things that are going well, like the amount of worry in your life, the amount of stress, because there's this chronic
Glad
stress
you
thing.
brought that up. Yeah,
Chronic
that's a big
stress is one
problem.
of the biggest things plaguing our society. And it's like you have
Sure.
all the toxic food, but then you have all the toxic thoughts and you put them together and it's like, no wonder things, aren't coming together for people, right? Like you need to attack the problem holistically from mindset to spirituality to the things you're eating, your lifestyle, your habits, thought habits, activities, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, anxiety, of course, we get calls all the time, like people
Mm,
having panic attacks and dealing
yeah.
with anxiety and, mental health and all that. And I totally agree with you. And I would just add, in the realm of that worry and panic and
Hmm.
anxiety, you also have your adrenal glands, which are the coping mechanism of the body, and they're connected to your heart and to your brain because the body works with other systems.
Hmm.
But those are just little things that sit on your kidneys, and if you're in a state of stress, they are secreting these hormones like cortisol and adrenaline, and that will definitely keep you awake at night if they're
Right.
unhealthy. So look at things like B vitamins. A lot of people are deficient in B vitamins and also magnesium,
Yeah.
which personally I've been zoning in on magnesium lately.
Right.
And
Right. Right.
I've been finding that most of us don't get enough of that. And it has a great relaxing effect, even on your muscles,
Hmm.
especially if you're a person that struggles with leg cramps or restless leg syndrome at night.
Right.
Check out magnesium for yourself.
Yeah, there's magnesium mineral oil, there's creams, and then there's obviously the magnesium you can eat, but it is powerful, powerful stuff. Um, a quick note on the B vitamins. I know they're not all created equal. So are you leaning toward like the brewer's yeast is like, hey, this is a good, reliable source in
I've
a
got a
supplement
couple of
over otherwise?
yeah, definitely food source as much as you possibly can. That's going to give you your best chance for absorption. Some people have certain genes in their bodies where they're not able to absorb vitamins very easily, certain B
Mm,
vitamins, for example.
interesting.
Beef liver, if for those of you who are, meat eaters that are okay with that,
Yeah,
beef liver actually is very rich in B12 and B6, and it almost has the full B complex all by itself.
interesting.
And that those are usually in capsules because most people don't like to taste
It
the
can
the
be a
liver.
little rough unless you do it with all the onions, like Polish style. And then it's actually can be quite good, but
I agree.
yeah.
The interesting thing about it is raw is going to give you the most amount of nutrition.
Right.
So you can certainly do that in capsules as well. But beef liver in general that's my go-to. I like
Mhm.
capsules. There are powders and things out there. The brewer's yeast, like nutritional yeast, that you can get for your home. So those are going to give you some B's. What we don't realize, we talked about coffee. Coffee actually is not. I love coffee if you do it
Mhm.
right. Obviously, don't abuse it. But coffee can deplete your B vitamins. It actually does.
No kidding.
It really does.
Yeah.
Sugar will deplete your B vitamins, and alcohol will deplete your B vitamins, and certain pharmaceutical medications deplete your B vitamins. And so, if you are a person who's like, "Wow, some of that is in my lifestyle," you could be deficient, and that could be something you may want to zone in on.
Yeah. Yeah. No, there's a lot to unpack in that. Going back to stress really quick. Here's a theory I've been working with. I'm big on the cold plunges and cold showers. I have a theory that there's only a certain amount of stress you can experience in a day. There's a bank account. And most of us live a lifestyle where it's slowly draining all the time through chronic stress. But there also is a scenario where you can have these moments of great controlled stress on your own terms through vigorous exercise, sauna, cold plunge. And then you can use up your bank account of stress that day. And then whatever comes up, you just don't feel the impact like nearly the same way. You're like, I've already had enough stress on my own terms, and whatever comes up, we'll deal with it. And you just have a certain calmness you take with you after that. So there are ways. I don't think stress is bad. Stress is
Yeah,
necessary, but
that's good.
chronic low dose stress through your own mindset, because your mind, I don't think your mind knows the difference between what you're doing and what you're thinking oftentimes. Like when you see guys
Yeah.
yelling at a football screen as if they're on the field, people don't know the difference between living an experience and just visualizing or thinking about an experience. So like thinking about stress all the time, your body acts as if it's constantly jogging, like
Right.
lifting, like it behaves that way chemically. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think it's a good way to look at it because stress is not the enemy necessarily. Our body is built to be able to withstand and handle certain stresses. And when we overcome that stress, it's a beautiful thing. It's like a victorious thing for us.
Mm-hmm.
And inflammation is very much the same way. Our body is built to handle inflammation, acute inflammation. It just wasn't meant to be in a state of chronic long-term inflammation. The same thing with
Right.
stress. So that daily stress is not a bad thing. When little normal daily stresses start to feel overwhelming for you,
Mm.
that's when you need to think about what you're doing and make some of these adjustments we talked about.
Absolutely. We're gonna have to do this again coming up. I know we got about 7 minutes here, and like, man, I could pick your brain
I'd
on
love
this all
to.
day. So hopefully you'll come back around and we'll do this again another time. Um,
Yeah.
One thing I've always been interested in, and my personal thing is I have friends, family who are doctors. I have nothing against the medical field. I love doctors. I think they get into it for the right reason. These are incredibly intelligent people trying to make a difference and do the right thing. The system has issues.
I
System
agree.
has very big issues. I think as much as we can, trying to stay out of the system is the best possible thing. Like remaining healthy so that you do not need to go on a medicine for the rest of your life. But one of these things is I always look at is like, let's say emergency herbs and things that you can keep at home. Like what are some emergency sort of things you keep around all the time if like, okay, you got the stomach flu, someone gets really sick, this and that. Things everyone should have in the medicine cabinet.
Well, definitely, oregano is one of those things. I was gonna say when you brought up the story with your wife that I strongly feel, and I do this for our family at home, that everybody should look at oregano for their medicine cabinet.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm speaking as an individual right now in the research. If you even just Google this, Google AI thing is incredible because it's very
Oh, really?
honest. So you
Yeah.
can Google the health benefits of wild oregano, and it will say things like antiviral, antifungal, antibacterial, natural antibiotic, antihistamine, which is good for allergies. So, I mean, it's good to have something that's an herb that has very few, if any, side effects.
Mm-hmm.
Oregano oil is very concentrated, and you can do soft gels or oil. I like the oil because you can go topical. So if you have like a cut, a burn at home, something that you're worried about an infection growing or something of that nature, you could do it. Um, so that really can prevent a lot of trips that you don't have to have. That you can just take care of things at home.
Right.
Uh, Other than that, I would say just to another one is black seed oil. I think the that's becoming more popular and things like that. That can help you detoxify. There's even research on parasites or digestive disorders,
Mm.
indigestion at large. So that can be very good. And it's a little more gentle than oregano because oregano oil sometimes for nursing women or also for pregnant women is not the best. You could do black seed oil
Okay.
during those times. So these are things that just naturally support our immune system, work on things like inflammation. A lot of value just for those herbs. I think those two right there, think of the worst immune situations. You mentioned autoimmune.
Mm-hmm.
We mentioned cancer. I'm not saying it's going to treat, prevent, cure anything. Can't say that.
No.
But oregano and black seed are phenomenal, to have as these dietary assets at home.
No, that's I have a couple things I want to that you made me think of here. So for people who don't know this, the companies who let's say make something like oregano oil or any essential oils, anything like this, they are not allowed to say at all what this stuff can do. They can say maybe it supports this, but even if there are very, very solid studies saying that like, hey, oregano oil can be used as a natural antibiotic, they are absolutely not allowed to say that. So the labels can be deceiving, but do your own research. Oregano oil is very powerful. I like to mix it with peppermint oil for topical and make like the beauty of oregano oil, as far as I can tell, is you can eat it, put it under your tongue, like hold it, drink it, swallow it, use it like that. You can also use it in place of something like Vicks. You can use it
Yeah.
topically for like a respiratory infection. You can rub it on your feet if you got some kind of infection, but then you can also put it in boiling water and just take in the vapors and breathe it in deeply like,
Yeah, it's
and
really
this
good
is
for
great for,
that.
I mean, any kind of respiratory infection. I mean, that's like my go-to. I hit it as hard as I can immediately. I've had no side effects from it, but like you can knock out a lot of bugs. And part of the problem is if you get sick with something like that, you go into a doctor, they don't want to tell you they can't really do anything for you. Like it's probably a viral infection, especially like a respiratory thing, but they want to do something for you. So they'll give you an antibiotic that will not address the virus that brought you there and might actually leave you in a worse position. And so for me, I'm like, the more you can deal with the stuff at home, like obviously if it gets out of hand, go see a doctor, go see a hospital if it's out of hand. But if you can nip it in the bud early on, that's kind of that's been at least my strategy for my family as well. Like my wife, my son, that's what we do. So
Yeah, same here. I would just say to look at magnesium. I really believe in it. Men have to have over 400 milligrams a day. Women have to have over 300. We're hardly getting that in our diet these
Wow.
days. It's an incredible, it's responsible for over 600 chemical reactions in the body, including like protein synthesis, nerve impulse, muscle contraction, so much more.
Wow.
And it's basically protects the energy currency of your body, which is called ATP. So if you're
Mm,
struggling with energy or even sleep, magnesium's great. The fish oil you mentioned, I think we'd be remiss if we didn't bring that up again and say you need those omega-3s in your life and that inflammation factor, and perhaps the turmeric or something like
mm.
that that could actually replace like an ibuprofen or a Tylenol in your home.
Yeah. No,
Safer.
yeah, I love the turmeric. And yeah, there was a product I used to love. Do you guys still make the can of cumin?
Yes, we do.
Okay,
Yeah.
that was back in the day when I was working there. It was a mix of turmeric and like a CBD or like a hemp-based product. Um,
Yes.
that stuff, I mean, I never got so much good feedback from, the customers who were working with it, that like they were dealing with something for such a long time. And this was the thing that like, oh my God, my whatever it is, arthritis, the inflammation, the autoimmune, they're like, this stuff is incredible. And I was like, that mix was so
It's still
powerful.
powerful because most places they'll give you like a turmeric powder or something like that in a capsule. So what this
Right.
is raw hemp seed oil with turmeric and with ginger, with oregano, with
Yes.
rosemary. So they're all
Ginger is.
inflammation supporting. And
Yeah.
having all those together is it's like a cascade, it's like a multi-layered approach to inflammation. So for
Uh,
chronic sufferers, we've seen a lot of good feedback.
God, we're about to get kicked out of here. It bums me out,
Go
but
ahead.
I'm going to put links to North American, some of the best products in the description. And Steven, if you want any of your links in there, let me know. I'll add it in. But man, I appreciate it. Always a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you. Yeah, you can find me on Instagram, the Stephen Harkins.
Perfect. Thank you, Steven.
Thank you.
All right, man. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.
All right. See you.